Okay, y'all, I'm trying to get this done in 10 minutes, so I'm talking real fast. Okay, bear with me. Getting right into Lifetime's part two. It was so boring. All the women talking were boring, and that is why they were all willing to partake in this propaganda piece. They're women that don't get attention, so they got some attention, so they wanted to talk. What stood out for me was that this part two unintentionally exposed the hoax by showing us the order of events and recapping what we've seen in the media and how the media, politicians, and corporate business are playing together. What was funny to me is that they said that R. Kelly doing an interview with Gayle King was him doing damage control, when this is exactly what this Impact documentary was about. Lifetime doing damage control. When I saw the so-called mob, and I'm doing air quotes, in front of Sony headquarters, I recognized that the Me Too protesters were there working for Sony or were guests of Sony. I know where the Sony headquarters is at New York City. I've been inside the building. You are not protesting out there without some police presence around. Furthermore, they're huddled in the enclave. They're not on the street. So they're in the enclave right by the entrance. Sony security is not going to have them block the entrance. You have too many high profile people coming in and out of the Sony building all day long. And it's just not happening like that. So they were authorized to be there. That's number one that I noticed. Then they mentioned RCA Sony dropped him and never said it was because of the documentary, but the timing led us to think that. Exactly. The timing led us to think it because they knew exactly what they were doing. My belief is that Sony paid for that protest. And the reason why, it's going to make you think, oh, people do have the power. They can shut something down. Oh, they did shut R. Kelly down. And let's be mad at these protesters. It's not just like, oh, Sony dropped him. And then they don't want the association of being said that they dropped somebody because of a documentary. The artist that they highlighted speaking out against him. Again, here we have Sony artists. Lady Gaga is with Sony ATV Publishing, and John Legend is a Sony artist. So they pulled them to the back. They said, hey, listen, you better disconnect from this guy. It can ruin your career. You know, they told Lady Gaga they will attack you. They're going to say that you were condoning his behavior because of the song that you have together. Do whatever you want to my body. You better disconnect yourself from him. And John Legend, he probably didn't need coaxing. He's a dumbass. If what his non-black wife says is true about him, her giving him some on the first date, I can't expect him to be a thinking man. So in this part two, they go on to credit Me Too for doing a good job with Hollywood and that they needed to look into the music industry. So here they are again telling you that they did a good job. But did they? Who was punished in Hollywood for sexual misconduct? What did they do a good job with in Hollywood? They were born from a Hollywood scandal. They were created by Hollywood. Tarana Burke created the hashtag. The Me Too movement was created after the sexual abuse allegations against Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein is connected to Sony and to the production of Surviving R. Kelly. CBS paid $20 million from Les Moonves' severance pay to pay out 18 groups that supposedly sprung from the Me Too movement or connected to it. What were they paying off? Were they paying off the people who organized the protest, the Mute R. Kelly groups, or people holding press conferences? Me Too is a sham. They don't care about the victims. Otherwise, they wouldn't even handle this situation like this, because isn't R. Kelly a victim of sexual abuse? So where's the empathy for him? Why are they just so willing to attack him instead of saying, hey, we got to look at this a little bit differently because he was also a victim and we got to look at the victims, and sometimes victims don't have the reaction till years later. Isn't that what they're trying to tell us? CBS gave Gayle King an $11 million raise. If she had any class with herself, she would send Robert a check or at least pay his back child support. The other media outlets, they publicized her, they interviewed her, they crowned her, all of this. So like one woman in the piece said, whoever has the power gets to control the story and control how the victim is portrayed. Now, she was trying to refer to R. Kelly with this, but this was truth that was actually spoken in this documentary. Whoever has the power gets to control the story and control how the victim is portrayed. So the power is the mainstream media. The power is Sony Records. The power is the people with the money. Like my friend always tells me, follow the money. So the women are continually referred to as victims, which is wrong. Like Sharon Winbush said, they're not victims. They're women telling their story. It hasn't been proven that anything has been done to them. And they keep being taken off the hook. They're telling you, they give you the reasons for why they took so long. It's not abnormal for victims to come out years later. This is what they want to tell you. They're also telling you that they're still experiencing shame and self-blame. But no, we can't buy that, because when you're experiencing shame and self-blame, you don't write a book. They tell us that 63% never reported it. They're trying to lead you into how you're supposed to look at a sexual abuse victim. They're telling you can't look at what would have happened if it happened to you, because everybody's not the same. You can't look at it through that eye. But we can compare it to that. We can compare it to other sexual abuse victims. We can compare it to things that we know. They want to remind you why it's hard to walk away. That was the excuse they were using when they wanted to talk about R.Kelly and why she was in this for so long. And I have to just say, when I looked at her on this Pt.2 documentary, it was just funny to see how she was adjusting herself in the seat, getting ready for her camera shot, her close-up. So it's obvious that they don't want you to do any critical thinking. They were telling you how to think from beginning to end. They were thinking for you. Their script was clear, concise, quick, and powerful to lead your thinking. It started off with Soledad O'Brien telling you, I'm a journalist and a woman, so I had to bring this story. Well, why? So what they're really saying is that they're telling you this to tell you that this is the type of story that's important and what a journalist needs to bring. And they're letting you know that this is a story that women should care about. This was just designed to play down the questionable actions of Michael Avenatti and Kim Foxx and make you think that the case against R.Kelly is based on his behavior and not their propaganda piece. That R.Kelly is not off the hook. They had this guy in there saying, we regard murder and sex crimes the most offensive. But I say only when it's a black man. You see white people killing their families, shooting up schools, shooting up churches, going to the supermarket, killing people, and nobody seems to be offended by this. Nobody's offended by all of the cops that are killing innocent people. But when it's somebody black, then we want to be offended. They wanted to let you know that Kim Foxx's intention was good. They didn't really dwell upon what's going on with Kim Foxx and Michael Avenatti after this documentary. Yeah, they said a little something about him being arrested, but I don't even remember them actually saying anything about Kim Foxx being investigated. And if they did, that's what I'm saying. They brushed over it. What they really wanted to get across was that her intention was good. And that's what they had someone say, that when we saw her come out, a victim of sexual abuse herself, what people said was, finally, someone is paying attention and taking action. So from this action that Kim Foxx took, then they show us Gloria Allred, who comes out with these chicks that are obviously paid off in some type of way. And to show you how many times Gloria Allred did this, she's so sloppy, she didn't even really care about having anything to convince us. The association that she showed these girls having to R.Kelly was a picture that they took in front of a picture with R.Kelly. Not a picture of them with R.Kelly, but a picture of both of these women in front of a picture of R.Kelly. Like something that they took outside of a concert of his that they saw as a souvenir piece. And one of the women is reading the script that they gave her, and it was just a bad reading of a monologue. So as we're seeing this play out, I'm saying, okay, so we're seeing the whole scam. We're seeing all of what's going on. Because when you're seeing it back to back to back, you're really seeing like, oh, okay, yeah, this is really how it played out. They put R. Kelly's lawyer in. They wanted it to seem like they're giving a fair, so you can't say this time, oh, it was one-sided. But they just discredited everything that he said by the words that they used with him. They said that he was painting a picture of... No, he wasn't painting a picture of anything. He was stating facts. So he wasn't trying to paint a picture that R. Kelly wasn't guilty because of what Kim Foxx and Avenatti did. He was telling facts about the case. And another true thing that they did say is that the defense doesn't have to prove that he didn't do it. It's the prosecutor's job to prove that he did. So any questions that you might have had where you were doubting something, oh, well, why did the parents bring the girls? Oh, they had the answer right there for you. R. Kelly was grooming the parents. So I did this commentary just to really show what we are up against, because this, I always say, is not just about R. Kelly. This is about what's happening to us. You have big money and connections working together to exterminate people, mostly black people. I got to just say what it is. They continually show us that they can make you and then break you. We've seen this with Bill Cosby. They do not want black wealth to continue because they already know they're ahead of the game with us on there. So it's just something to think about. And I'll get into that in another piece. I just wanted to give my thoughts on this R. Kelly piece, point out that the media is all one family. There is no well, this is a good media or this station is better. They are all working together. And you could see this with CBS, Lifetime, and all associated with it. So the politicians, all of that. So thanks for listening. Take it in and win. I'll talk to you guys later.